This right here, this area where it doesn't look like a whole lot of stuff is growing. At one point I was treating this to be sort of like a fire break line and using a bare ground material. That's why it stays pretty clean all the way around and then over into the other neighbor's property, and this whole line is kept clear. That behind me, that kind of stuff drives me crazy. I want to have just clean gravel areas. I don't want to see weeds all over the place, but further than that, here in Utah we have a pretty vast noxious weeds list, things that have to be controlled on your property. And one of the big ones is Canada thistle, which grows like crazy around here, and you can round it up. You can use a number of different herbicides on it. It takes a little while to break it down, and then it comes back and it comes back and it comes back. So in the past I've done a number of different things. I've done just standard broadleaf herbicides, I've done glyphosate, I've gone through and roasted with torches, I've done sort of the whole thing. The best approach for all of this stuff is going to be running a bare ground like a soil sterilant to knock all this stuff out. I grabbed 3 different things we're going to go down to the shop and take a look at. So for those of you that do deal with this kind of stuff, we can kind of lay out the parameters on which one might be best for you. Let's go. Quick disclaimer here. We're going to be talking about these different chemicals here behind me. This one here is not labeled for residential use. We're going to go into it. I'm going to tell you all about it. These all are. There are differences between each product. The most important thing here is make sure you read the labels, you follow the instructions, you only use it in the areas where it is targeted to be used, and you don't abuse anything about this. Going off label with any product is a use at your own risk and can cause a lot of damage. It has happened in the past and everybody needs to be aware. Now that we're out of that, let's take a look at these products. This guy right here, everybody should be familiar with. Maybe not this particular label, but this is Glyphosate from Agricel. This is basically Roundup Pro. It's 41% glyphosate. It is the sort of be-all, end-all, the way most things are measured. I can take this and mix it and spray everything out there, kill it all. It won't prevent anything from coming up, and it will only go after the plants that are alive and actively growing, and it will kill down to the root. And it takes a little while to get it done, but it gets done. It always gets done. So we know how this works. I have no fear in ever using it. I think it's great. Obviously used it a ton around here, so it's just sort of the tried and true method. But let's look at a couple of other things here just to kind of get some perspective on some other active ingredients. And you know, if you're trying to get more, you only want to do this once, then let's look at that. So there's our glyphosate. This is the Ortho year-long right here. This does not contain any glyphosate whatsoever. This is a mazapyr and pelargonic acid. So here's the thing with this, it's very inexpensive, but it doesn't really cover a whole lot of area. This whole thing right here will cover about 450 square feet. It's 17, 18 bucks. This would probably work best for like driveways and walkways and small areas, but I don't know if you noticed, that whole strip that I would have to do is many thousands of square feet. So in order for me to do what I would need to do and using this material right here, let's see, I would probably need 10 to almost 20 bottles. 20 bottles of this, 250 bucks worth of material in order to do what I need to do. I have used this before in small stuff, like down along like cobble walkways and little areas, and it does actually work really well. So if you don't have a lot of area to go for, this is a non-glyphosate product, right? This is something that you can take out if you're concerned with using that. This is just another one of the options that people are trying to use instead of using glyphosate, which, whatever, man. Not a bad option, okay? Not a bad option. And honestly, driveway cracks and things like that, probably a good way to go because you are going to get a long-term control with this as well. So that's what we're going for here. We want to have long-term control, not just like a one shot and kill. We want to get more out of it. So there's that one. Okay, so this does have a weed preventer in it, but they have another one that's the Roundup 365, and I couldn't get my hands on it. They were sold out here, so I think a lot of people are going for it. That one is, I want to say like 55 bucks for the concentrate, probably does amount the same amount. I'll put a link to that one down below because I don't have all the details on it right now. But again, now Roundup is just a brand name at this point. Roundup for years meant glyphosate. That's what it meant. Well, it's not anymore. The brand itself has branched out into all sorts of broadleaf and different things. And so there's all these different Roundup branded materials made by the same company. Like all of this stuff is coming out of the same place. So this one, a little bit different. So here's the active ingredients in this one. We've got triclopyr, fluazafop, diquat, and imazapic. That's what we're looking at in this one, okay? Did I say those right? Probably, I don't know. You know what? I have like a language course and all these chemicals, but that's what it looks like and sounds like in my brain. We've got 4 different things going after weeds in this one, and it will kill pretty much everything. And this says up to 4 months. Now, a lot of these types of, call it pre-emergent type materials are all going to depend on rainfall as well, which we're going to get into this very last one, which is probably not going to apply to a whole lot of people out there. But I think, again, if I were to take this out, I have a couple of options. If I was going to do flower beds and things like that where I wanted to kill things, I just have some trees out in the front. I do get a lot of thistle growing out there. I do have some grasses I don't want. I want to keep those beds super clean. This, or this back here are going to work just fine for that. I'm not really going to get any translocation, which leads me into the last one. This is Mojave. Now, when I used this professionally back in the day, it was called Sahara. It's changed over. I believe Sahara was BASF, and now Alligator has this, and they're the ones that are manufacturing the new version, which is Mojave. This is a soil sterilant. It is no longer labeled for residential use, which is unfortunate. Now, I reached out to the company to try to find out what the story was on that. Haven't heard back. It's been a couple of days. They said they'd respond very quickly, but I've gotten nothing back. I'm going to assume this is an insurances type of thing where people were probably killing trees and killing non-target species because of this material. This is generally used industrially. We used it back in the day a lot for fire break lines, and that's something that I have around here. It'll just basically wipe everything out and provides awesome control. And the problem with it, the reason it's probably become an issue for the residential market, is because it'll kill trees, it'll leach through the soil, it moves. And that's the bigger issue with this material right now. So for most of you, the non-professional group out there, this is not going to be an option. Now, next door, behind the home next door, that used to actually be a lawn care company, and the owner used to treat with this all the time and then sort of take care of the areas around here. I am not going to say that I'm going to use this. I am not going to recommend that anybody uses this. I am going to say that the materials that I have here are going to do exactly what I need in order to control the target pests that I have. And the biggest and most important part of this is read your labels, follow the safety on all of them, make sure you're covered up when you're doing anything, because why risk it? Make sure that you're taking care to go through and understand exactly the amount that you need to put out, where it works best, what its target's pests are, and all of that good stuff. Let's put a bow on this whole thing. So listen, weeds can be a nuisance. They can be unsightly, they can cause problems, they can spread. There are weeds that are not supposed to be anywhere on your property that you need to control, and now you have a few different options that you can take a look at. And I think the most important thing for you to decide is, are you able to treat for a one-time application, or is this something that you're going to go out and treat and spot treat and take care of over time? Then, of course, it's all about coverage area. Again, from like a professional use side and an industrial use side, this bag, this 5-pound bag right here in a low moisture climate will do anywhere between about half to 1 acre of total treatment. It's around a $60 bag. I think that probably if you're buying it professionally from a dealer, you can get it cheaper. This Roundup right here was actually fairly expensive. I want to say that this one was somewhere around like the $49 mark, something like that. And then this guy was somewhere around $19. And glyphosate is all over the place. So you have to pick, you have to choose what you really want to do and go after it, with gusto, right? So I'm going to leave you now, and I'm going to go spray some weeds. But hey, if you want to look at some more cool stuff, check these videos out right here. There's always some fun things going around here. I'll talk to you again real soon. See ya. Flowazafop.